What about you?
Um, hey, I'm just out here loving my Chiefs, and you know, and then some. So so we're gonna go ahead and get started real quickly. Of course, my name is Elam B. King, and I am the host of the Understanding a Man podcast. And I want to thank everybody that's joining this evening. We are going to have, we got a treat this evening for y'all. This man that I'm going to bring on board in just a second. And I don't even want to do him wrong and just trying to run down the level of different things that he's done. But I want to thank you all for continuing to like and share on the Understanding a Man podcast, available on all platforms and on YouTube. And so please continue to like, share, go on over to YouTube and subscribe to the Understanding a Man podcast. You can go on over to Elam B. King on YouTube. And also you can follow us and a lot of things that we're doing on Elam B. King on all platforms. And please continue, like I said, to like and share. Appreciate everybody and all of our supporters. Man. So you know what? There's a certain people that's out there that I have a lot of respect for. Anybody that's inside of the platform of inside, whether it's the relationship space, whether it's just cultivating and bringing people together and giving them an understanding. And I think that the tweak of this individual is that the spirituality that he puts behind it is just unprecedented. Every single time that I see a clip of him on social media, I'm like, yo, hold on, I'm gonna use that. He don't know. Sometimes I just bite his stuff, and then sometimes I give him credit, sometimes I don't. But I mean, but hey, each one teach one, right? So this gentleman is located in Detroit, Michigan. And I'm actually headed up there in a couple of weeks, and I don't know whether we'll get a chance to cross paths, but because he's always shaking and moving, because he's got so many things going on right now. But I am going to step out of the way of greatness and introduce to some and present to other Dr. Eddie Connor. He has a book that's out right now that we're going to be talking about. He has a conference that he's doing right now that we're going to talk about. And we just going to talk about a couple of things. Of course, those of you that know on the Understanding a Man podcast, we tend to come from a male perspective on certain things, just giving us an opportunity as men of just growing in certain spaces, expanding our emotional intelligence, and just doing what it takes out here to just lead not only ourselves but in our families as well. So without further ado, I want Mr. Dr. Connor to come on board and just introduce himself, and then we're gonna dive on into his most recent project and have a little fun. So what's going on, Dr. Connor?
Hey, what's going on, brother? I'm always honored to be on your platform and your podcast. You live up to your last name, which is King, and so we crowned you tonight, brother. So
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate it.
yeah,
Hey, y'all don't even know. This man's so slick with his words. Y'all watch. We're gonna see it. Man, he be dropping like little nuggets. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay.
man,
Dr. Connor, hey,
you
here's the
be
thing. So you are a can you give us the elevator version? And that might go 5 minutes, but can you give us the elevator version of just who you are, where you're from, what you rocking and rolling doing, what you working with, and then we're gonna rock and roll from there, good sir.
yeah. My hometown is Motown, city of Detroit. What up, though, as we say. I grew up in Kingston, Jamaica for part of my life. 2023 marks 23 years of me being cancer free. Getting ready to release my 15th book on the 15th of June.
Mm.
Do a lot of mentorship to our young brothers, empower them to overcome obstacles, literacy, leadership, life skills, enrichment. And then, of course, what we're going to get into tonight as well, my conference coming up, Access Identity, Ideas, Impact, Influence. And so always
Ooh.
honored to be able to share with you, always
Ah.
speaking truth to power.
Absolutely, man. Access identity. I want to jump right into that, but I gotta, man, let's not slide past a level of greatness that you just said right there, sir. You said 15-time author, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Where can they see that? Where can they get them books? Where can they follow you real quick before we get started, man?
Oh, without a doubt. Revolution not only be televised, it'll be digitized. They can go to my website, www.eddieconnor.com. Put some respect on my name, EDDIECONNOR.com. They're available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, iTunes, Audible, wherever books are sold as well. Facebook,
Absolutely.
Instagram, Twitter at Eddie Connor Jr. Yeah.
Absolutely, sir. And so you're more let's take a look and dive into your more recent book. Who can find a faithful man?
Yeah.
Man, that's amazing, sir. You said it's coming out on the 15th of June.
Yes. Coming out on the 15th of
Oh,
June.
hold that up again. Hold that up again. That's a sexy cover, man. I like that.
I
I
said,
like
let
that.
me. Some people are saying this should be a movie just based off the cover. So,
dude, I was about to say, like, that's a whole series on Netflix right there, man. Well, let me ask you something. What inspired you to write this book?
This was a book this wasn't even supposed to happen. Honestly, I kind of fell into this. I was at a men's conference a few months ago,
Okay.
and I was talking about the dichotomy between Proverbs 31:20
Okay.
versus Proverbs chapter 20, verse 6.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Proverbs 31, verse 10, and Proverbs chapter 20, verse 6. And I was saying, the church and so many times podcasts and women's conferences, we always talk about who can find a virtuous woman.
Right.
But we don't talk about Proverbs chapter 20, verse 6, who can find a faithful man.
Oh, can we just hit the button? Let's hit the button.
And the video went viral. I posted the video. I'm just like,
I saw
it. It went viral to about over 1.1 million plus views right now. And
right.
I'm telling you, celebrities and just regular common folk, but primarily brothers were hitting me up and DMing me saying, "Man, what you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I need that aspect of faithfulness. I need to develop myself as that man."
Right.
Because we say, "Hey, you're a rich man. You're a strong man. You're a popular man," but we don't give credence to being a faithful man.
Okay. Ooh.
What that takes. Yeah.
And you know what? Let me just say this really quickly. I actually had a conversation with someone the other day, and I want to get your commentary on this real quick. Just talking about being a faithful man, right? And sometimes I kind of look at that the same way people talk about communication, right? Okay, well, you just got two adults. You should just communicate, right? And it sounds good when you say it, right? Yeah. But there's some due diligence. There's some adaptable tools that we have to, have and walk with. I kind of associate that with marriage and how people say, hey, just trust God and love. Well, we both know that takes more than just, of course, that's important, trusting God, right? Love, right, inside of a marriage, right? But there are actually some action items that have to be done. And I look at being, who can find a faithful man and actually a man being faithful. And the conversation I had with the person was just, they asked me, okay, well, is it difficult for a man to be faithful? And I straight up told them, I said, for some, yes, it is. And some people might look at that moment and be like, what do you mean? Or you just want to cheat? Or you just want to be out there? No, that's not really what it is, right? And what I associate that with is that even in the Bible, it does talk about, inside of our flesh exists no good thing. So if inside of our flesh exists no good thing, by default, right? Just like being born in sin, we want to do wrong, right? And you have to actually be intentional on doing right. And maybe sometimes when let's just say for women, when they're listening and they're, or talking about this topic, because their sexual organs are not as large in their brains as ours are. And, men are sometimes looked upon as that's all they want is just want to have sex and they just want to go out and cheat or whatever case to be. Talk to me about, the importance of, and, or maybe I want to start off in the difficulty of just, is it easy or for a man to be faithful? Is it something that people should just be like, oh, okay, this is just something that should just be and happen? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, good question. I think to a certain degree, somebody's faithfulness could be attributed to what their options are.
Okay.
If your options are limited and your scope is limited,
come on,
you may not struggle with that.
Come on.
Especially if you have not even been reared and what you have seen in your childhood, your adolescence was everything but faithfulness.
Right.
A lot of times as men, we're not faithful to our calling, our character, our commitment to Christ. And so if you can't even be faithful in that aspect, when it comes to love and relationships, you're going to fail and you're going to falter in that aspect as well. And so even in the book, I wanted to get into the whole aspect of emotional intelligence, creating healthy boundaries. And even the subtitle of the book is finding faithfulness to live, lead, and love with loyalty. And so we have to first, before we ever lead anybody else, we got to first lead ourselves.
Oh, stop right there. I'll be trying to tell them, doctor. I'll be trying to tell them. They be trying to think. And that's really for men or women, but if we just want to talk to the men and just look at ground zero, I want you to highlight that just really quickly of how you just said that, about being faithful to ourselves first. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, without a doubt. And I even asked the question when I was doing the panel, can you be faithful in your body? Can you be faithful in your calling? Can you be faithful as a father to your children? Can you be faithful to those who are in your sphere of influence? Can you be faithful to actually do what you say you're going to do and be accountable? And then also be vulnerable enough, if you don't live up to the standard of it, to rectify it, to reparent yourself, to rehash, to review, to recorrect when things are misaligned in your life. I think that's important.
So, for those, and if we dial back for a second and just kind of go forward with, just being faithful to yourself, understanding your purpose, as you were just talking about. And, for those that might not have had the upbringing in that space, right? The subculture that exists out here, you use the word vulnerable. Yeah. We're men, right? That's not what we do, right?
Yeah, not what we do. Because we have not been taught to be vulnerable. Vulnerability and masculinity oftentimes cannot coexist in the same space. Oftentimes, vulnerability is seen as femininity because we were told, don't cry, stand up, be a man, boys don't cry, this, that, the other. So by the time we get to a woman, by the time we get into the whole aspect of relationships, we've already been so locked up and locked out that we don't know how to express, because we've been told that expression is only relegated to the feminine species.
Right.
So the course correction that's got to take place, is through therapy, is through developing new set of boundaries. It is redefining what masculinity is, because it's not so much performative. It's personality based. So I think that's where we have to look at it through not skewed lens, but a different line of thinking.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I got a question, doctor. Doctor, I got a question. What do you mean by it's personality based? I don't understand. Break that down to me, sir.
Yeah, I think it is. A lot of times we have relegated masculinity to, you got to have this many women, you got to drive this car, you got to look like this, you got to be in this sculpted frame, whatever the case may be. And everybody's not going to fit into that mold. I think you as an individual, as a person, you define what that is. And I think it comes from that place of, yes, you're embracing your humanity. It's also from the place of, it's not so much achievement based, it's not so much performative, it's not so much something that I'm reaching, I'm never grasping. It is the fact that I lead, I love, that I can be the priest of my home, that I can provide, that I can protect, that I can be a man, and a man, as I define, is a mature, assertive nurturer. That's what I think it's about. Because masculinity is oftentimes a mask. We got to take it off.
Ooh. Okay, I'm trying to. You want to go way out. Okay, so let's dive into your amazing book that's coming out. Who Can Find a Faithful Man? Listen, if you had to give me, some elevator versions or just a chapter that you could just expand upon, or just something that you talk about, walk us through, just one of the chapters that of just some information that you talk about. And, let's go there. What you talking about in the book, man?
Oh, I say this, the greatest superhero is not being Superman, is being a faithful man. It is the whole aspect of developing your character, cultivating your creativity, is being committed to your commitment. I got some chapters in the book, such as, I'll read a few off, finding a purpose partner. And I believe you can't really expect a purpose partner if you have not first partnered with your purpose. Yeah, a man who does not have his purpose is not fit to lead.
I'm about to get up and run. I'm about to get up and run. Come on, can we rest there for 1 second? Sure, what do you mean by that? Because what jumps into my head, I got Romans 8:28 just jumped into my head, right? But before we're jumping out there sometimes as men into relationships, right? And we're trying to lead and walk inside of that. And this is what I'm just gathering from what you're saying. We're trying to lead and walk inside of that relationship when we haven't had and cultivated the relationship with ourselves. Is that where you're going with that? What did you talk about in that particular chapter?
Yeah, I'm talking about that, but also the whole aspect of you have to discover and define what it is that you were created to do,
Mm,
right? Because you'll always be chasing, you'll always be grasping and never reaching. You'll be around a lot of bodies, but you'll never be who you are and know who yourself as the person who you're supposed to be.
mm-hmm,
And I think it comes from that place of defining what was I created to do, who was I
mm-hmm,
created to be, and that purpose and that identity is so uniquely interconnected.
mm-hmm,
Because if you don't know who you are, people will tell you what you're not. If you don't know who you are
mm,
and you don't decide what you want, somebody's going to decide what you get.
mm. How do I if I'm in a relationship right now, all right, based upon what you're talking about right now, and I don't know what my purpose is, right? I don't, but I still love this person, right? I still want to be with this person, but maybe I might have done it a little backwards. I might have, not. What should she do if she recognized? Let's just say she walking and doing what she need to do, right? But she loves this man or whatever, and he hasn't found himself or whatever. Is not walking in his purpose. What advice would you give to women right now that are with somebody that is with a man that he's not in his purpose? What should she do right now?
I think she has to look at the aspect and the origin of the relationship to even see, does this man want to grow?
Hmm.
Does he want to get better? And
Hmm.
sometimes as men, we get stuck. Sometimes as men, we are not as progressive as oftentimes women are. But
Hmm.
is she the type of woman that can lift that man up to that particular place, to that degree, and grow with him and encourage him
Hmm.
and empower him?
Hmm.
And is he receptive to it? Right? If he's not receptive to it and he's insecure about it, then that might be the demise of a relationship. Because I believe whoever you intimidate is who you will eliminate. Oftentimes, because people are growing at a different rate, we get
Uh,
intimidated by them. And so I think you have to see, is this a place of growth for me, or is
mhm.
this has the relationship plateaued to where I can't grow anymore?
So okay. So should she move? And first of all, y'all, let me say this real quickly, and we're gonna dive back in. These questions that I'm asking Dr. Eddie Connor, he don't know them, right? So he's literally sharing information, and this is what I love about it. It's so fluid of who he is that he's able to just speak about it, just impromptu, off the cuff. So I absolutely love how you're able to do that, Dr. Connor. Does that is she taking? Is it a project? I don't understand. Like, is it, should she just sit still? He's not in his purpose. Should she continue forward? I know you said earlier that she could, I forgot how you put it.
I think when we're looking at purpose,
Yeah.
a person can work their job, right,
Hmm.
and do that diligently and still not be in their purpose. A person
Right.
could also have a job and it actually align with their purpose. And then the
Right.
thing is, two people can do opposite things and still be in purpose together.
Right.
So a lot of times a woman will possibly look at a man and say, well, I'm comparing this brother to this other brother, and he seems to be in this level of purpose, and this one is not,
Hmm.
because it comes down to a place of financial stability.
Right.
And purpose goes beyond paper.
It
I think
does.
purpose in many cases aligns with the character of an individual and what that person was created to do.
Right.
What are the signs? I would ask her, what are the signs that show that this man may be out of purpose? Does it infringe upon the relationship? Does it make him mistreat you? Does it make him call you out of your name and mistreat you based upon your character? If
Right.
none of
Right.
that is happening, then I think you can grow with that person.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing. So if I'm a man and I'm dating in these days and in these streets or whatever, and let's just say I'm the high value man, right? And
Mhm.
so I'm out here and I'm looking for maybe my purpose partner, or maybe I'm just dating for entertainment or whatever. What are some of the things or some of the dismay that as men that we're running into that maybe that you're talking about inside of the book, or that you've experienced or seen out here?
I think what we have seen with relationships have become more transactional than accountable. It's about what
Mm,
can you buy me? What can you get me? How many followers do you have on social media? What do
mm-hmm,
your photos look like? And all of that becomes a veneer, it's a smokescreen, it's a facade. Because when you
mm-hmm,
really get to the element of where people are and try to see if there's any depth, a lot of times there's really not, because they're just as shallow and as filtered as
mm,
their photos. And so I think
mm.
one thing that we have done, especially, is
As filtered as
yeah,
their photos. I
as
like
filtered
that.
as their photos.
That's
Yeah,
no, but that's real because fake has become the new real, right?
real,
And so
right,
we have
right.
people really looking at you. That's what people are seeing, and just like these filters are absolutely amazing. Some of the pictures that we see out here, they're absolutely amazing. And so, men, we are visual, right? So
Oh,
we'll
without a
look at
doubt.
that and want to attach ourselves to that, and maybe even it's a carnal piece or even a sexual piece or whatever. So what do we need to look out for out here as men, as we're trying to choose our purpose partner? What do we need to be thinking about?
I don't think you can allow, I don't think you should allow the visual to cloud your vision.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
that is being able to set up
Come on, sir.
real parameters. To tell it, sometimes telling yourself no is actually telling your purpose and your calling yes.
Okay,
And that is,
okay.
yeah. That is becoming a man in many cases of discipline, because a lot of times we're dealing with the fear, we're dealing with the father wounds, we're dealing with failure, we're dealing with the frustration of what it is, and because we have not been able to remedy ourselves of the vestiges of our past, whether that's through getting closer to God in a relationship with Him, whether that's through therapy, whether that's through
Hmm.
counseling, whether that's through surrounding ourselves with other brothers and a multitude of counselors, there is safety. Iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the
Right,
countenance of his friend. Because of
right.
that, now we fail and falter, and we stay where we are, stuck, rather than and stagnant, rather than moving to the next level. And so I think our
Hmm.
relationships become a symbolic element of who we are. We don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. And until we become better for ourselves, we'll never be better for anybody else. And we're living in a society now, especially from churches to conferences, from podcasts to panels. We're seeing
Right.
in many cases how society has prepared women for unprepared men.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
mm.
So
And
it is
and
who can find. Both of us are asking who can find, whether that's Proverbs 31, whether that's Proverbs 20, verse 6 as a man. Who can find a
mhm.
virtuous woman? Who can find a faithful man? Women want brothers to be faithful. Brothers want sisters to be virtuous. And we're both
Mm.
asking who can find.
And we never really talk about that Proverbs 20. I mean, we all
Right.
know Proverbs 31, but we don't talk about that Proverbs 20. And I think that
No.
one of the things that I love that you're doing right now, you're actually taking this. And so I wanted you to take a moment and talk about that. I'm sure that I don't know if the book inspired the conference or the conference inspired the book or whatever, but either way, you're going out into the community and you're sharing this information. Talk to us about this conference that you've put together. Where is it? When is it coming? How can we become a part of it? Some of the things that they can look forward to inside of it. What's this conference all about?
Yeah, the conference, Access Identity Conference, comes from the idea that I believe somebody's waiting for you to become who you are so they can become who they're
Mm.
supposed to be.
Oh, oh,
And
goodness.
yeah, and oftentimes there's a dichotomy, there's a chasm between who you are and where you want to be. And I believe the
Right.
key is purpose and identity. And so I'm really showing people how to get there from here, simply
Mm.
because for so many years I didn't know my identity. I was growing up without a father. I battled stage 4 cancer. I was, lethargic and to a certain degree procrastinating on my purpose. But
Hmm.
by the grace of God, I was able to find the can of cancer, and also the fact that challenges create champions. And so, out
Mm.
of all of that, Access Identity Conference was birthed. It's happening on Saturday, August the 5th, in the city of Detroit.
Right.
And it's a conference that's all about increasing your ideas, your influence, and your impact. It's about connecting kingdom and community, ministry and marketplace. We're talking about and tackling the issues of your money and your mental health,
Right.
balancing work life balance. We're talking about relationships,
Come on.
financial literacy, your business, how to scale. I'm giving people strategy, structure, and substantive solutions of really how to scale their life and move to the next level. Because I believe we are living in a world that is now grappling with an identity crisis, from
Okay.
churches to governments to organizations to people.
Okay.
And so we got people coming literally from all across the country as well as the United Kingdom, and they can register today at accessidentity.org. Simply because they're listening to this podcast right now, I'm giving them a $50 off hookup deal.
Come on.
Simply because they own the podcast with my man 100 grand, Elam B. King, and they get $50 off when they use the code ACCESS at checkout. So they can go to accessidentity.org and be a part of it.
Accessidentity.org, y'all just for listening. Yeah, listen, we just got you a $50 discount, okay, on the Understanding a Man podcast. All right,
you just got blessed.
Right, you just come through blessed, you know, and so it's a one day, is it a weekend? What is it? What? Just give me the schematics or the scheduling. Yeah. What does that look like?
It's all happening on one day, Saturday, August 5th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to happen at Focus Hope Conference Center in the city of Detroit. And if you're really, really serious, you say, I want to grow in the areas of my ideas. I want to turn my ideas into income, my contacts into contracts. I want to take my impact to the next level.
Right.
And really not just make an income, but also make an impact and balance both. And then also your influence. Dr. John Maxwell said leadership can be categorized into one word. It is influence. If you are the most introverted person on the planet, you will still influence at least 10,000 people over the course of your life. Wow. And so I want to show you what to do with that influence and really how to scale your life and move it to the next level.
Now, is this conference just for men? Is it for women? Is for should single moms or single dads? Should they bring their daughters, their sons? Who should be here?
I would, my target audience is everybody 18 and up, and that is our brothers, our sisters. It is those who are in business, those who are in entrepreneurship, those who have a vision at all. We've always talked about during the pandemic how to pivot in the pandemic. Now we need to learn some strategies of how to prosper post-pandemic. So I want to give people the blueprint of really how to build their vision and really scale it and move it to the next level, and really how to merge their ministry or whatever it is in the marketplace, how to take their talent and really put some real sweat equity behind it and see growth, the growth equity as a result of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Who Can Find a Faithful Man is the book. Access Identity is the conference. You can go to accessidentity.org, you said?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And get your tickets. August 5th, I'm going to be in the building. Got to represent one with my man, Dr. Eddie Connor. I'm super excited. Dr. Connor, because we're going to continue to have a discussion about this. We're going to have a part 2 and coming up just even within our conversation that we're having right here. But before we transition into that, because we got to dive into just at least 1 or 2 other chapters inside of the book. All right.
Sure,
but for those that got to go right now, whatever, to a conference, can you tell everybody where can they find you, website, who you are real quick, and so people can follow you and make sure that they go ahead and get these tickets and be in the building on August 5th?
Absolutely. Best place to find me is going to accessidentity.org. You'll find all of my social media bio information as well. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We don't stop at Eddie Connor Jr. EddieConnorJr. That's where you can connect with me there. You'll find a link to all of my books. And then also you can go, as I said, accessidentity.org, receive a $50 off discount when you use the code ACCESS at checkout.
Absolutely. And you listen, this is the Dolomite of relationship information. All right. He dropped them one-liners on you real quick. If you guys follow him, you know what I'm talking about. So he will drop a one-liner on you real quick and you'd be like, oh, what was that?
And let me tell them as well, they can get the book, Who Can Find a Faithful Man, is available for pre-order right now. It's coming out June 15th, but you can get the Audible, the ebook, the hard copy, and pre-order it right now on where.
Come on, Audible. Yeah, come on, Audible. Okay, hey, listen, if they didn't come up with Audible, I would be the most ignorant person because I can't sit down and read a book, bro. It's so hard. I'm so glad they came out with Audible. That just helped me out. But thank you so much for just, just being on right now. We're going to go into a part 2 just in a moment. Just a little bit more information that's going to be shared. But thank you guys so much for just joining. This is the Understanding a Man podcast. And I just want to thank you guys so much for just joining myself and Mr. Dr. Eddie Connor Access Identity Conference coming up August 5th. You need to be in the building. All right. You need to get this book. The cover, show that again real quick, Dr. Connor. The cover is sexy. I mean, the cover is a whole Netflix. It's a Netflix. I need to holler at Dr. Connor on that. I'm really loving that. Who can find a faithful man? People don't have that discussion. And so what we're going to do is kind of lead more into that on part 2 of just kind of talking a little bit more about the book as well and some more about the conference. So, but I want to thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you so much for Dr. Connor for being here and just sharing your information, man. Anything that you want to share with the audience before we close out?
Listen, it's time to really go after your purpose with all the gusto that you have been given. Every one of us is red box in a gold bowl. We're a gift to the world. The tragedy is to be gifted, but to never open the package, and also to never use what's in the package. And so somebody's waiting for you to be who you are so they can become who they're supposed to be. Why wait? Make them wait any longer. No more waiting. Now it's time to go for it and be what you were created to be.
Listen, so we got to talk about why are you making them wait. Okay, that's okay. We're gonna go on. We'll talk to y'all later. We got some more talking. We'll see y'all in part 2.